Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello. Tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? I believe this thing is on. I believe I can be on. In theory, we're on. I think so. I think so. I think so. Maybe. I believe. Yes, I believe. In fact, we have made it. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Welcome to another live taping of Podcast Pontifications. Let's turn this off. Hi. My name is Evo Terra. Thank you very much for joining me here on this Tuesday morning. Yeah. Hang on, I gotta move some things around. I missed something. Oh, there it is. There's the thing that I was missing. If you are brand new to this, welcome. Hi. Again, this is a live taping, so the things you are seeing and hearing me do right now, no one else is going to hear. Well, no one else that isn't watching the live stream or watches the live stream on replay. Yeah, in a minute, in about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, maybe even 4 minutes, I'm going to actually begin the real content of the program. But for now, this is me getting ready. Oh, take off the glasses because I can already see there's a nasty glare. Eek. A nasty glare. And luckily I make a type big enough where I can actually see it. Oh my goodness. Today the topic of conversation is, will you create or steal your next podcast's listeners? At least that's the topic. That's the title. And the topic is going to ask that very question because it's two very different paths. But I'll get into that in just a moment. Right now, it's just getting the cobwebs out and making sure that this thing is actually working. Because, the internets are far from perfect when it comes to doing the podcastings. We all like them to be perfect, but in reality, things go south. But I think it's working. In theory, I believe that it's working. If you are brand new and you don't want to wait for the 3 minutes for my brain to get kicking into where it needs to go, because it is 7 o'clock in the morning for me here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you don't want to wait for all of that, and you just want the meaty content, you promised to talk about creating versus stealing an audience, Evo. When are you going to get to there? Well, in a while. You don't have to wait for it. Well, you don't have to sit at your computer and wait for it. You have to wait till around 10 o'clock today. In 3 hours, I will release the edited version of this episode at podcastpontifications.com. And to those people who are signed up for Podcast Pontifications in your inbox, that is a free service, which you give me your email address, and my system will send you a link to the audio file, a completely rewritten article. I'll take all the words that are going to come out of my mouth in a moment, and I will arrange them with my fingers so that makes sense when you're reading it. All that gets published at 10 o'clock today. Yeah, pretty cool. So if you don't want to wait, go to podcastpontifications.com and don't wait. Good morning, Betty. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Betty, by the way, for the graphic. Yes, I'm sure that's going to be fine. When you sent it to me, I was off doing things, and my evening stayed doing other things, like, cooking dinner and spending time with my wife. So I didn't get a chance to do any more with it, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. Oh, that reminds me. Maybe I should make that note, a slight change to the note of the show here. Boop, 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 boop. Where's Safari? There it is. Go down to the bottom here. So, yeah, let's do that. Let me change that. Let's change to the listen everywhere on the top of PP. Got it. And Betty, I'm going to work hard to make sure that I get the logo you helped me with up there live. Cool. Okay, there's my note for that one. No, not better. Betty. I'll say that out loud, and that would be a problem. Got it. Got it. Okay, that is all in there now. So wonderful. So I think I'm ready to go. I think we're all set. Let's make sure. Still working over there. Yeah. That's working. Okay, so as I am wont to do, I'm going to read, professionally narrate, my cold open. See how that goes. On your next podcast, will you follow a trend and take your fair share? Or do you have an idea that's never or barely been tried before? Both have their rewards and challenges, so which is right for you? What I'm going to say. Probably I'm going to say it very much like that. So let's get my controls over here. Let's get QuickTime where I want it to be. And if you are ready, I am ready. We shall just like Jeff Bezos did a little bit earlier, light this candle. Except I'm not filthy rich, and I'm not going to space. Just recording an episode of a podcast. Okay, maybe I'm nothing like Jeff Bezos. All right, here we go. On your next podcast, will you follow a trend and take your fair share? Or do you have an idea that's never or barely been done before? Both have their rewards and their challenges, so which is right for you? Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Our digital world is never static. Almost every single day, we see some new service or some new offering that becomes available to us. Now, most of those, history has proven, will fizzle out and fail. Some will continue with some modest success, and a few will be breakout successes and become the next thing that we either can't live without or can't understand why people waste their time with. And it's no different in podcasting, really. And just like those big entrepreneurs or big companies that launch new things all the time, smart podcasters who are looking to start a new podcast are faced with a similar choice. Are you going to create your own niche, or are you going to steal market share from someone else? I don't think there's really a right or a wrong answer to the question of what you should do. And also, I think to a certain degree, all new podcasts actually have to steal some market share from other podcasts. Remember, 30% of the U.S. population listen to podcasts on a weekly basis, roughly. So those 30% of the population, those 100 million Americans who listen to podcasts, I think it's like 80 million, is close enough, they only have a certain amount of time. We podcast listeners, as much like we podcast producers, only have a certain amount of time to do things. So, yeah, we have to steal some market share from some people. And I think, and you should understand, that people do rotate through their podcasts. Regular listeners out there, podcasters a lot, but regular listeners too, rotate through the podcasts they listen to. Sure, they have their set standards that they keep and will probably keep forever, but, they dabble in new shows. And these listeners certainly have, or many of these listeners have a type, a preference that they have for the types of shows that they want to hear. And of course, in podcasting, we've seen our share of trends, of big things where people want to move to. Think true crime for a moment. True crime was, and by many indications still is, a huge draw with a large audience. Lots of people listen to true crime content, very, very hungry for more true crime content. Daily news shows, that's another, by all indications, or by a lot of indications. Daily news shows are a huge draw. And we have a large audience out there who are hungry for more of that type of content on a regular basis. And I think we have lots of existing media outlets who are launching shows in that area because, look, our appetite for news, collectively speaking, doesn't really change. Audio dramas and fiction podcasts, excitingly, I hear, are trending upwards, which is great. Lots of new entrants in there, and lots of big media, lots of big companies who've got chops in other sorts of fiction and storytelling areas like book publishing, television, and film, are all coming in vying for ear holes, I guess. All of those want to take market share away from others because there's a trend working right now. But then we have the pioneers, the true pioneers, you will, doing things that don't quite fit other models or molds. Not that there's not room to innovate within shares by developing existing market share. There certainly is. Right? You can innovate there. But I'm talking about something totally new and different, really, truly carving out your own niche. And when you do that, it means that you're making a show or a podcast that other people don't yet know that they want. Then again, that's an assumption. You don't know whether they want it or not. When you're carving out a niche on your own, there's no trend to ride. There's no all-important search terms you have to optimize for. Because again, no one is looking for this kind of content. It doesn't exist right now. You're blazing your old trail. Now, that may be scary to some, but for others, like myself, that's kind of exciting. I mean, having no expectations of an audience. You're not trying to one-up the competition because there's not really enough competition for the listeners of this niche that you are creating right now get to judge you by. You are totally on your own, which is scary and also incredibly freeing. And we've seen it happen over and over in the podcasting world where new niches are developed. Podcasting hasn't been just one thing from the beginning. It was never that way. Although a lot of people treat it as it is exactly the same. But it's not. Depending on what you're trying to do, going after existing market share, stealing it from other podcasts, or making it on your own, it's quite different. Now both options are valid. Which path you should take really depends upon you. It depends on your ability to solve those challenges. Because stealing market share from very big established players, entering in a space that is well-trodden, that's hard. It's really hard to do. An established audience is often quite unforgiving, especially if you take some ham-fisted approach and enter the market space without studying and understanding what rules exist before you start breaking them. Also, going against a big established marketplace trying to steal it away means you may not have the budget or the resources to really compete at the top. Again, I don't think there's a right way to do this. And your job when you're making this decision isn't to pick the right one. Again, it's pick the right one for you, but then also do not mismatch your actions depending on your chosen path. See, a lot of what works to grow a show in an established marketplace is not going to work as well when there is no existing marketplace to grow. You have to grow your entire marketplace, right? And vice versa. A lot of the advice you hear out there about how to grow a show, how to monetize a show, or anything else to make your podcast bigger may not apply to you if you take one path versus the other. Again, going after an existing audience or an audience that you have to create on your own. So all you can do is choose wisely. Now, if this helped you, just start. And we'll come back to this conversation. This is just the beginning. I want you to think about these two different paths. I will come back and revisit this from time to time. But if this got you thinking about things in the right way, please consider going to buymeacoffee.com/evoterra and lending me your support. That would be lovely. Also, I've made some changes to the homepage of podcastpontifications.com. Take a quick look. At the top of the page, you'll see a Listen Everywhere bar. I'm swapping out the logos of the companies, of the services, of the apps you see in there to reach, to put forth to you some that you may not have heard of before. I figured I'm at a special place since I'm talking to podcasters who already have a preferred podcast listening app or at least a default service, so I'm trying some new things. Big thanks also to Betty from the If You Ask Betty podcast for helping me with some of those graphics. Much appreciation, Betty. Thank you. I'd love your feedback. If you click those links and tell me what happens, if you got something you think I should have up there, by all means, let me know. evo@simpler.media. That's it. I shall be back tomorrow with yet another podcast pontifications. Cheers. Stop recording the video. Stop recording the audio. Go back to here. Awesome. So thank you very much for listening to that. If you are just joining me for the live stream, you missed the you missed the recording. But, you could back up and watch it. Again, what is it? What are we going at? 15, 14 minutes? You could do that if you wanted to. I suggest waiting. If you wait another 2 hours and 46 minutes, the edited version of this, at least in audio form and print form, will be available at podcastpontifications.com. And if you go there right now and you give your email address into the box at the bottom, you will get an email that contains a link to the audio file and email to you the full article, the full rewritten article, taking all the words that just came out of my mouth, using my fingers to rearrange them so they make a little more sense in the written form. All that'll be shot to you at 10 a.m. if you just go to Podcast Pontifications and sign up. It's free. That's it. Simple, easy, and elegant. Betty's asking a question in the chat. Yeah, you're right, Betty. We do all love true crime. You're right. Although I'm hearing it's waning, or at least the things are shifting, and I'm not well versed enough in the true crime genre to have an opinion right now, but I am paying it a little bit of attention over there. And Betty asked me if I do my own website design. I did not. I hired a gentleman, Steve Young, out of Singapore. He did a great job. He's fantastic UX designer, and yeah, he's the one that did that. I did the original, here's what I want, here's what it is, but then I paid Steve good money to make my idea look like I wanted it, because I don't have those skills, not even a little bit. Right, so, okay, that's it. Well, everybody enjoy your day. Go do your thing. It's a Tuesday. I will get this stuff live soon on Podcast Pontification. So with that, I shall bid you all adieu.